the House of Suntory unveiled their 2024 Tsukuriwake Selection to the UK at Whisky Show 2024. This worldwide ex-Japan drop comprises of 3 Yamazakis and a Hakushu. They come with the usual Suntory fanfare, but are they worth the hype? Let's find out. So this is the 2024 Tsukuriwake Selection. These are all non-chill filtered and natural colour. I'm starting with the Golden Promise. Kanpai. And this is a beautiful sort of straw colour. Really, really beautiful dram. Very inviting, so let's go for it. On the nose. Ooh. Okay, this nose is really delicate. Wow, there is a lot of freshness and a lot of sweetness there, almost like being in a British school tuck shop. This is wonderful on the nose. Absolutely fantastic. A lot of floral notes as well. Wow, like walking through some of the rolling fields of England. A lot of really, really bright fruits, more on the artificial side than the natural side. Fantastic. Pineapple, you know, melon, peach, a little bit of honey and some citrus. Kind of like an orange cake actually, because you do have a lot of maltiness there as well. Wow, this is one of those noses that I could really, really spend a lot of time on. But let's head to the palate. Kanpai. Okay, so the nose was very, very bright. A lot of honey, a lot of, like I said, those big, big fruits, sweets. But the palate is a bit more bitter, a little bit more, you know, a bit more balanced. So you're getting more savory notes there as well. And there is this kind of licorice, aniseed note, which has completely thrown me because I didn't expect that at all. Bit of umami there. I'm getting a bit of like, you know, katsu or boshi, like some, you know, dried bonito flakes. Not on the salinity side, but more just on the very savory side. That orange cake note that I had on the nose is a bit more amplified on the palate. But this is a nice dram. Gotta say, remember Suntory brought out these essence of Suntory bottles with both the Golden Promise and the Islay Peated, and this is a more amped up version of that. The finish is, I'd say medium. Very nice. A lot of that sweetness that was on the nose is actually not there on the finish, but it's a nice end to a very nice dram. The finish, it was quite nice because it's a lot more savory. You know, so you went through this real journey.
Lots of vanilla, honey,
yeah,
malt.
Yeah.
And then on the palate, it develops with a bit more complexity, but also very linear, very round.
So it was an interesting journey. It was almost like a line, you know, from like sweetness to savory via that. So it's a fascinating whiskey for me.
11 years old, hot set and puncheon.
Moving on to the Islay Peated. Another very light coloured whiskey. Surprising given the average age of this is 11 years. It doesn't have that sort of shine that the Golden Promise has, but it's very nice because this is natural colour, so they're not adding anything to it. So let's see how it measures on the nose. Ooh. Wow. Okay, so this is nice, 20 ppm I'm told. So you're getting a nice bit of smokiness, but nothing too overpowering. This is going to sound strange, but considering it is Islay Peated, it actually feels to me a long way from Islay. It's a very delicate peat. Feels almost like there's a bit of Hakushu influence there. Lovely balance. A little bit of sweetness there as well. So this is, I think I can sense the bourbon influence from this. So a lot of vanilla coming through as well. Ooh. On the palate, some really nice salinity coming through. I'm enjoying that a lot. and that salinity is creating this nice moorishness. A bit of peach as well, so I do, you know, there's this interesting, like I said, this interesting sweetness has come, I think, from some of the cask aging as well. I'm trying to get a sense of the Yamazaki profile underneath the peat and the smokiness, but it's not really coming through for me. But the peat is not too overpowering, so very, very flavorful dram. Could probably do with a little bit more salinity. So what I find with salinity with peated whiskey is you get a lot of umami coming through as well. The average age here is about 11 years, so there's a lot of nice integration of the peat. And the finish is long in the sense that there is a kind of expansive mouthfeel. I don't know. I was hoping for a little bit more, maybe some of that flavor coming through much more on the finish, but on the whole, a pretty delectable dram. I'll say it now, I prefer the Golden Promise over this one. Not bad. Kanpai. Now on to the big guns. This is the Yamazaki, the first whiskey distillery in Japan. 18-year Mizunara, that water oak that is become so synonymous with some of the innovations that Japan has brought to the whiskey world. It's a beautiful color, golden, amber color, really lovely, really resonant, and very, very inviting. This is a beautiful dram. Let's get on with it. On the nose. Ooh, wow. You've heard me say this before, but you know, there's a lot of cliches around Mizunara, sandalwood and spice and the smell of a Japanese temple. Whatever you want to articulate it as, this is classic Suntory Mizunara. I've just gone in straight on the palate. I realise I gave no notes for the nose there, except what other people have said about it. But yeah, on the nose, a little bit. I mean, not, you know, we're not talking, it's not spice, it's not spicy like a jalfrezi. But yeah, there's a lot of spices there. Slightly on the sweeter side with this one. A lot of cinnamon there. A little bit of clove. Okay, I've got to give it to them. The sandalwood is there. I'm just going to go with it. On the palate, you really are getting that very distinctive, wow, Mizunara profile, which many love. It's very rounded and very resonating. There's a lot of effervescence there, which fans of Kanpai Planet know that I love. A little bit of ginger beer. Wow, this is good. This is very good. You know, I tried the 100th anniversary version of this, and this is a different batch of that. This kind of feels a little bit sweeter and a bit more rounded and a bit more developed. There is a bit of bitterness there, a little bit of astringency. Basically, if you are a fan of Mizunara whiskies, you are absolutely gonna love this bottle. If you're not, then, you know, it says Mizunara on the label. It's clearly not for you. The finish, now this is long, so you're gonna feel that little tingling on the tongue coming through. That bitterness does disappear quickly, so you've got kind of the sweet, sour, savory Mizunara yin-yang that permeates very nicely. That is a great drop. It's always fantastic to try 18-year Yamazaki of any sort. This is really something special. Kanpai. I'm going to rank this joint top so far with the Golden Promise for different reasons, ahead of the Islay Peated. And last, but certainly not least, Hakushu 18-year peated malt. Hakushu is my favorite distillery in Japan. It's such a beautiful place, fantastic forest and incredible mountains as well. Again, I tried the 100th anniversary version of this. I was super impressed and I'm excited. This is the first time I'm even touching these drams. So as the kids say, I'm here for it. It's so great that Suntory have chosen to bottle these with natural color, all at 48% ABV. The color is this very delightful light amber color, very Hakushu-y. Feel free to steal that. This is beautiful. On the nose, oh wow, on the nose I'm getting very, very classic Hakushu notes. That forest aroma, that pine, little bit of mint. Oh, okay, interesting. I'm gonna bring Raf in at this point, the Suntory UK brand ambassador, absolute legend. Raf, peated malt, but I'm not getting that, you know, this is clearly is not 50 ppm or higher, is it?
This is a blend of different types of ppm. So there is a fully peated malt, but we use different levels of peating level. So you have a light, medium, a heavy malt in there.
Okay.
Right? So the way we achieve the soft smokiness is that we blend 5, a 15, and a 40 ppm to make it a bit more harmonious.
Wow.
Fermentation for 72 hours in wooden vats also allows that thickness to develop even further, but then of course it's long maturation. This is an 18 years old, that is much older whiskey into that blend. 4 types of American oak, ex-bourbon, hogshead, puncheon, and American butts.
What you're telling me is this is an absolutely incredible Hakushu, at least in its construction. It's always interesting when Suntory use the word peated or heavily peated, because I think sometimes it can mean different things, you know, from an Ardbeg or something like that. There's a Japanese sensibility around what peat can mean, right?
All of our whiskey follow a flavor philosophy that we have at Suntory. We need to create products that are subtle, refined, but also complex.
Yeah.
That delicacy and utmost complexity, they need to reflect the Japanese flavor profile.
Fantastic. Well, I'm getting that already on the nose. So fantastic. Kanpai.
Kanpai.
Yeah, wow. I mean, this is just wonderful. It really is.
The forest around surrounding Hakushu, the leaves, these green notes of orchard fruit, green apples, pears, fried sage, rosemary, thyme, mint. It's almost like an apple tartan with a bit of fried sage at the top. And the subtle smokiness, I always describe it as the morning after a bonfire.
Yeah.
You know, like the smoke of that whiskey is there, but it's also mingling very well with all the other flavors.
Brilliant. I've always wondered how to articulate my love of the Hakushu distillery, and luckily I got the professional in to help me. I mean, we all know Hakushu is unique. I personally think more unique than Yamazaki, more unique than Chita. It's doing something very special, that environment. And it's tough sometimes as a whiskey reviewer, because you're saying, oh, this is the smell of the forest because you're in a forest. And I hate those cliches, but it just is true.
Yeah. I think that's why Hakushu whiskey is so unique, is because it's one of the only few whiskey and distilleries that really showcases the natural environment.
Yeah.
We have the same at Yamazaki, however the making process, the craftsmanship of Yamazaki kind of takes over there.
Yeah.
Right? With Hakushu,
The environment is the star of the show.
Yes.
Good. Brilliant. It's always good when the brand ambassador, a legend like Raf, just basically verifies the conclusions I've come to myself.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, but this is wonderful. And actually, it's kind of a bit sweeter than I expected, because I think it's a bit sweeter than the 100th anniversary version.
Yeah, as Shinji says, it's meant to be the same, but it's obviously a different batch, so there will always be some differences when it comes down to limited editions. But the idea there is to showcase the true essence of Hakushu, the forest, the water, and the subtle smokiness.
So I've just gone on the palate with the Hakushu, sort of more peated on the palate than on the nose, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you feel that smokiness there.
Yeah.
But still very balanced, very rounded. You're getting that little kick on the tongue. This is a very Moorish dram.
That smokiness gives you length, but it also allows you to go back for another sip.
Yeah,
Right? It's not too intrusive.
I agree. I'm already going to call this. Normally I wait till the end to make my judgment, but I think this may be my favorite actually.
Shinji Fukuyo-san, our 5th generation chief blender, is there creating not just our core range and making sure that keeps on our traditions,
Yeah.
but also is there to innovate. And with these expressions, is trying to, and is, I believe, very much achieving, to kind of like showcase the true essence of each of the distilleries.
Yeah.
With Tsukuriwake, you understand the making process, the raw material in this case, but also the long maturation in Mizunara and Hakushu.
Diversity in the making.
Diversity in the making.
Which is what this word.
Tsukuriwake.
Which is what this word means.
Yes.
The finish of this is just amazing. Ah, my goodness, it's a wonderful salinity. What a journey. It's going up and down, and I can only describe it like a Mac Boltzmann distribution. Starts off very light, builds quickly, and then you get that peak of peat, and then actually a kind of drop and a long finish. But in that process and in that waveform, you really do get to enjoy this wonderful mouthfeel, a little bit of oiliness, and this very rounded, very integrated, incredible peatiness, which is truly delightful. Without a doubt, this is my favorite of the 2024 Tsukuriwake whiskies. Really, really nice. Much more rounded peat. If you want to introduce people to kind of peated whiskey and what that can be, Hakushu is such an amazing introduction to that. So should you buy them? Well, to be honest, pricing wise, they're kind of well beyond any judgment of value. But what I can tell you is if you do spend money on them and you actually crack them open, then you are going to be enjoying some delightful drops. So what's the verdict? I mean, they're all great drams. And I've got to say, my favorite was the Hakushu 18-year. It's so, so good. And if you get a chance to try it in a bar, you absolutely should do so. Thank you very much to my friends at Suntory for the opportunity to try this incredible selection. Until next time, Kanpai.